Hello and welcome. I am Renee with Harvest Hill Cottage. Thanks for joining me today. Like what you see here, give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe so that we can get to know each other better and hang out. And stick with me to the end where I'm going to show you our retail space with the floor all finished and staged after we right after we moved in. So without further ado, let's paint some floors.
As you can see, the floors were pretty drab. I decided to do a practice of the base color and stencil color on a piece of cardboard. Next, I cleaned those floors really well with a TSP organic alternative. You want a clean, grease-free surface for your paint to adhere to. After cutting in the trim around the edges with a brush, I used a roller with a long handle to roll out the base coat, and I did put down 2 coats of that base coat on my floor. I painted the floor with Fusion Mineral Paint Cathedral Taupe, and then I stenciled using the color Raw Silk. Then I used a tape measure to find the center of my space so that I would know exactly where to place my first stencil. I chose to use a stencil by JRV Vintage called Moroccan Tile number 1, and I secured the stencil on that center line with some painter's tape. I highly recommend the stencils by JRV. They are 15 mil thick, very durable, reusable, and I just love them. I also used a JRV stencil brush, the number 24. Okay, now the fun part. Starting in the center, I went ahead and took my stencil brush and loaded it with paint, and then I offloaded onto a paper towel, placed in a bowl so that I wouldn't make a mess all over my floor. And then just let the brush do the work for me. I didn't want to push the paint down into the stencil because then I would get bleed through. So I literally just pounced my stencil brush lightly up and down so that I have a nice crisp design. I worked my way around the space one by one, lining up the edges of the tile with the previous tile design, and it really worked out beautifully. The stenciling took me about a half a day to complete, and I was pretty tired at the end, but it was definitely worth it. Don't you think? After allowing the stencil to dry overnight, I applied 2 coats of Fusion Minerals Tough Coat just to provide a little extra protection. Okay, so now you get to see the final product with our beautiful floors in our new retail space at Unique Antiques in King George, Virginia, where we feature JRV Vintage stencils as well as Fusion Mineral Paint. This is the booth just after we set up, and we have plans to expand and add more product in the weeks to come. Okay, so let's summarize what we did here. On day 1, we cleaned and we applied our base coat. Then on day 2, we did our stenciling. Then day 3, we sealed with 2 coats of Tough Coat. I'll drop the links below for all of the products that we use here today. You like DIY? Give us the thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.